So hello everyone, welcome back to 5 Minute series, and today we are going to see a very important topic, that is what is recession. You all may have gone through various news in last 3 to 4 days which were about why UK and Japan is in recession. So today in 5 minutes let's try to understand what is actually business cycle or maybe economic cycle, what is expansion, what is slowdown, what is recession, as well as what is depression. So let's jump in and try to understand what all these terms are. This is nothing but business cycle or economic cycle. You all have seen it throughout your preparation. If simply to tell you the definition, it is nothing but overall the state of a economy or a state of a country which that country goes throughout its entire journey from expansion to peak to recession to your depression. So it's nothing but overall for a country or an economy, its growth in terms of GDP, in terms of production, in terms of investment. It is nothing but expansion when all these terms would be increasing, reaching to a peak. Then of course whatever goes up comes down. So from peak again they will contract. So expansion of the economy corresponds the contraction of the economy, which is shown by a slowdown. Then slowdown becomes recession, and then recession sometimes, if not checked by the country, of course goes into depression. So this overall journey of a country or economy from the troughs and from the peaks, so peak and trough, that is called as your overall economic cycle or maybe business cycle. Now let us understand what are all the terms which are related to growth in this economic or business cycle. First we will understand what is expansion. So suppose a country is here, and if we are trying to see what expansion is, it's not just strong economic growth. We'll try to understand more. So expansion is a phase. It is nothing but when business cycle economy moves through a trough to a peak. So as I told you, in an economic cycle a country moves from a trough, that is from a bottom to peak. That phase of climbing up, that is called as expansion. Expansion could be shown as if a country or economy is pro-cyclic in the sense every country would be wanting their GDP to go up, their production to go up, their investment to go up, automatically their employment to go up. Of course country will show growth, development. So if it is pro-cyclic, the interest rate would be down so that loans are cheap. Capital expenditure will increase. Why? Capital expenditure increases, automatically opportunities are created. Investment also, which will lead to production increasement, employment also becomes more available, more money in hand. This leads to more expenditure, more demand, more supply, more is the GDP. This is a simple thing where a country expands or grows, right? Expansion. Now before going to recession, let me tell you what is a slowdown, because many of the students confuse slowdown with the recession. Suppose you are traveling from Mumbai to Delhi. Imagine we all would be knowing that our speed will not be same, right? So we would be changing our speed throughout our route. So suppose a hill comes up, of course we will try to deaccelerate our vehicle. Our speed will become from 90 km per hour to 80 to 70 to 60 to 40, right? So a slowdown is nothing but in a year 4 quarters are there. 1 quarter is of 3 months. Am I right? So slowdown is nothing but when the total GDP decreases or maybe reduces, deaccelerates from 1 quarter to other. So simple, suppose a country's growth is 7%, and in 1 quarter it is 7%, in next quarter it becomes 6%. So we can say that a country slowed its pace or maybe gone through a slowdown. Simple as that. Then what is recession? Recession is more aggravated form of slowdown. It means that for a country, if the GDP deaccelerates or reduces for 2 or more consecutive quarters in a year, then that would be called as recession, not a slowdown. That means suppose quarter 1 the percentage was 7%, quarter 2 percentage was 6% growth, of course quarter 3 also suppose it was 5% or 4%. It means that for consecutive 2 or more quarters the growth has actually slowed down. So this becomes recession, a significant, pervasive and persistent, more than 2 quarters in a year. This declining economic activity could be called as your recession. So recession comes automatically. In recession you all would be knowing, as it is nothing but slowdown of an economy. It will already have an inflation. It may be also because of the overheating of the economy. Government budget deficit is there, which again widens your as tax revenue declines. Investment becomes less, production becomes less. It is nothing but, this all chain is nothing but a virtuous cycle turns into vicious cycle. So understand what I'm trying to say. Whatever we saw in expansion, exactly opposite becomes in recession. Everything slows down, money in hand becomes less, declining consumer demand, less supply, less is the GDP. This is nothing but recession. But try, just imagine this, the difference between the slowdown and recession. That is very, very important. Many students have doubt in that. Next come depression. If the overall slowdown becoming recession, and if this recession goes below your equilibrium or maybe in aggravated form turns into depression, let's understand what is depression. Depression is an dramatic and sustained downturn in your economic activity. So it is an aggravated form of recession. Symptoms are very much fall in economic growth. So here you will see year-to-year reduction in GDP, or maybe 6 monthly, maybe more than 4-5 quarters. So here year-to-year reduction in your overall economic growth, GDP, along with employment, along with production, as well as inflationary scenario here. Okay. So depression is an prolonged economic downturn lasting over 3 years. So more than 1 year also some here is counted as your depression. So over the 3 years or involving a significant GDP decline at least 10%. So here the decrease in your GDP is really a large quantity, not from 9% to 8% or 7%. It's a huge percentage, 10%. So in depression, you could see currency value overall falls. This makes your import in a country costly. Government budget deficit widens, as we saw in the recession similarly, as well as investment becomes less, production becomes less. The vicious cycle actually becomes more dangerous. Unemployment, less money in hand, decrease in supply, decrease in demand, and overall a complete fall in your GDP. So this is nothing but an aggravated form of recession, depression. So that's why you could see in our business cycle, this was the equilibrium, and your depression is actually to the bottom of the trough. Now in a pro-cyclic economy, always a country tries to prevent the depression scenario by actually using its monetary policy as well as its banking systems, so as to push the economy again back into expansionary phase. So none economy tries to put its country or its overall economy into depression phase. They take a pro-cyclic stance in such a way that they always try to bring back the economy from the contractionary phase back into expansionary phase. So this is all about what is recession, what is slowdown. I hope that this session was very, very helpful for you, and you also understood what is the distinction between the both, the slowdown, the expansion, the depression, as well as the recession. Other than that, if you are having doubts, please mention in the comment section. And one homework for you, tell me the reasons in pointed form why UK and Japan are going through recession. Thank you.